Hello, everyone, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today at our information session for South Africa. This is our 9th year offering this program, and we are very happy to be offering this program again. Thank you again for joining us. My name is Wenju, and we'll be leading the next 45 minutes or so of this information session. Before we begin, we wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this island. In terms of agenda, we are going to do a few introductions and a quick overview of Summer Abroad. And after that, there's a few very important people that we want you to meet. Professor Anne Armstrong will be introducing the course content, and we are going to be asking Pierre from our reciprocity group to speak about the program in South Africa. I will then quickly go through the program details, how to apply, cost, and financial assistance. I just want to let you know that this is a webinar, so you are more than welcome to ask us any questions. On the back end, we have a wonderful colleague, Wendy, who is our program advisor, and Wendy will be helping us in the back end to answer any questions you may have throughout the presentation to answer your question as fast as we can. Thank you again for participating. Just quickly before we get to Anne and Pierre, I want to let you know about Summer Abroad. We are celebrating the 53rd year this year, and we've been around for a long time. Starting from our Sienna program for 53 years ago, this is a chance to earn a full year art and science credit. For the South Africa program's case, in 3 weeks on site, as well as a few more days in addition to that. You can imagine earning a full year credit in less than a month. That's quite an amazing opportunity, and it is not like an exchange program where you have to transfer credits. It's actually a seamless process. You complete this program, you complete this course, it's already involved in your CGPA as well as your transcript. We have destinations all over the world, including South Africa. And this year, we are offering over 20 destinations. Programs are taught by U of T faculty and international faculty, and of course, our partners. This is a chance to fulfill a program, a breadth or distribution requirement. You don't necessarily have to be a management student to take this course, and you don't have to be a Rotman Commerce student to take this course. So this is a great opportunity if you want to have this kind of experience to take an MGT course, and as well as meeting different students from U of T, from different programs, different campuses, or maybe different years. This will be a small class. The maximum size of this particular program is only 20 students, and you are doing group work. This is a great way to know your fellow classmates, as well as faculty, as well as various entrepreneurs and different contexts you are going to meet in Cape Town. It's also an all-inclusive study option. We do guide you in terms of transportation. Lots of logistics is already made for you, reciprocity, as well as our partners in Cape Town. We do really walk through most of the logistics with you and make sure that we got you before and as well as when you're on site. We have access to on-site non-academic support through our office as well as our partners in South Africa. We also lead pre-departure orientations, which all students should attend, and this is where we talk about safety. And we guide you through all the very nitty-gritty details before you get to Cape Town. We are also in close contact with Safety Abroad office here at U of T. We want to make sure that we maintain your safety and we provide guidance for you while you're abroad. What are the benefits of taking Summer Abroad courses? As I mentioned, your location becomes a living textbook, and I cannot stress enough, especially for this program, it's not a traditional academic environment. So you're going to be having in-class lectures hours, pretty much going to be out there in the field, especially after the first week. It offers an immersion experience perfect for various forms of studies, for example, consulting work. So this kind of opportunity that you don't necessarily can get when you're here in Toronto. You get a better understanding of international issues and concerns. It's really hard to explain, but once you actually get there, it does absolutely change you. We have former students reveal that they cannot express enough of how much this experience has really changed them personally as well as academically and professionally. And of course, it combines academics and travel. You get to really experience the beauty of Cape Town. Professional developments and benefits are really key to this program. You build a global network, you will get an an opportunity to meet lots of interesting people, faculty, entrepreneurs, cultural navigators who you will just not know in those 3 weeks, but beyond really do make an impact. It's really a reciprocal relationship. You have global awareness and skills, and you leverage that experience. Do have a previous South Africa student participant share that one of his interview for an internship most of the time was just taken just by speaking about his experience in South Africa, and that employer really did like this kind of experience, and they really liked that he had a different perspective into consulting work. This is quite impactful, and you can aim to diversify your skill sets and patterns as you're working in different environments, and you have immediate results that is not just theoretical. So within those 3 weeks, you really make and create an impact for groups, as well as building a dual relationship in terms of the impact. You are going to be creating and you will explore possibilities for graduate school. Experience like this will only inspire you to really think about beyond your undergraduate career and possibly look other options for graduate school opportunities. In terms of personal development, you make lifelong friends. As you are just a group of 20, you are going to be in a group of 4, and you will be really knowing your fellow classmates, and you may room with one of them as well. It's a great opportunity to meet different people that you don't necessarily will meet in Toronto, gain communication and presentation skills, you gain a meaningful cultural experience, and of course, you build a global gateway for future travel. So now I'm going to open up the floor to Anne speak more about the course as well as the projects we are going to be offering in South Africa in summer 2025.
Thank you very much, Wencha, for setting it up. I remember very well when Pierre sent an email saying, hey, would you like to connect? And I think at the time he was looking for MBA students. And I said, oh, I'm never going to travel with them again, having done it once. So I was very clear that I was glad to work with undergrads, but I didn't really want to do that. So Pierre, being the very kind person he is, switched immediately to be able to talk about an undergraduate experience. In the first year, we had quite a small class. I'm still in contact with many of them. To build on Wencha's point, many have gone on to graduate school and done extremely well. I think that between Pierre's kind of cold ask and the amazing support from Commerce, I was delighted to be able to co-create a course for Commerce and working with Reciprocity. So since that time, the course has been, in one sense, quite similar, that there is the key component that Wencha just described as the working with micro-entrepreneurs at the base of the pyramid in a township outside Cape Town. Over the years, I think we've had a few different townships, but I think more recently the township has been Langa. What is amazing to me, and I hope to reinforce the point that Wencha made, in 3 weeks plus, essentially with the bits here and there, in 4 weeks, you get a full credit. And that speaks, I think, to the intensity of the course, the demands on you as a participant, and we'll do a little bit here. Most of it will be there, and then you'll pull all your thoughts together. And one of the highlights, I think, for all of you, and Ben can speak to it later, is when you give your recommendations to your micro-entrepreneurs. Your recommendations will have been well vetted and analyzed by Pierre and his colleague Nico. So they're not kind of academic pie in the sky. They're very relevant. And it gives you an opportunity to really fine-tune your thinking with a focus on action and implementable action in the short term and in the long term. What I also really like is that the course is open to 3 campuses, students in all kinds of different disciplines. And over the years, we've had students in African studies, we've had engineering students, we've had some business students, had a stats student who was a martial art person, very helpful sometimes when people were misbehaving. So, and she's gone on to graduate studies and absolutely stellar career. So So the course attracts awesome students from all over, and it helps to form relationships between the students, reciprocity, and the faculty, and most importantly, the people that Wen-Che mentioned, the cultural navigators. They are there to make sure that we don't mess up and say or do something that's culturally inappropriate. So I'm just trying to draw the context for you that it really is a vital and vivid program that allows you for all the wonderful things that Wen-Che said, but there's something deeply personal. And it gives me great delight to think I'm still in touch with the students who were there first year, and we stay in regular contact. You may have seen previous course outlines, and this year I'm doing two major changes. One is that, and the Born a Crime we've been doing for a long time. I keep looking for an alternative book, and I haven't found one that works as well. And it's also pretty amazing when you're in the township, people speak so warmly about him. So I think we'll stick with that. And I'm sure many of you appreciate his humor, his commitment to social justice. And I particularly appreciate his overarching love of mothers, particularly his zany mother, but also understanding the importance of grandmothers, mothers, as really forming community and giving direction. In some ways, it reminds me a little bit of kind of the approach that we see in Indigenous communities. So you can see there's the consulting project and an assessment tool. The assessment tool is to allow Pierre and Nico and their team to go back to see if your ideas had traction and were implemented. The main difference I'm going to talk to for just a moment and then turn it over to Pierre is that I've added two kind of journaling components, and I've also added, and I haven't finished adding, a lot more literature so that you are better prepared. You will meet some amazing people when Pierre and Nico bring in guests, fabulous journalists, small entrepreneurs, and so on. The first two classes are to sort of prepare you so you know kind of the field, but there's also a lot of significant academic literature. And for example, one literature article I will include is a short chapter from African philosophy, written entirely from an African perspective. So you'll have a broader range than I had done previously. And so that is the different. Experiential here means thinking about your learning journey. So that's a more typical journal that you will do self-examination as you go through. But the literature self-examination will require you, of course, to read the literature and then write perhaps 250 words per article about what really struck you about the particular article. And the articles range from philosophical to economic, but certainly they won't be unduly onerous. You don't need to have a degree in philosophy to understand. But I wanted to just highlight that because I think it's important that you understand that this is an awesome opportunity, a fabulous place to visit, but is also a course in which you get a full credit, as we've said several times, in 1 month. So that's the major change. And there are other details here. Apparently it counts as an RSM course and so on and so on. So the one thing that I do want to add, and I believe it's still the case, I co-designed a new focus for Rotman called Diverse Economies, and it should be applicable for that focus. I will double check, but the Diverse Economies focus looks at Pan-Caribbean literatures and the economics Pan-Caribbean, Pan-African, and also Indigenous. Last I heard, it was, in fact, added to that focus. It's also a new focus, so I will double check, as I said, to make sure if you are going into the Diverse Economies focus, which has a 1-year-long capstone, that would be something that you could contribute this course. It would make total sense since we have a number of classes on Pan-African economics and so on. So I really, really hope that you sign up, and students, as Wen-Che and others said, they don't ever forget and reminisce often, and also use the opportunity to build their career. Thank you very much.
I'm just going to introduce Pierre, who is joining us from Cape Town right now, and he is part of our reciprocity group who has been with us for a couple of years. We are very fortunate that he is working working with the team again. So Pierre, I am just going to pass over to you, and please feel free to speak a few minutes about your work as well as the involvement that your team will have this summer with our program.
I got a couple of slides. So first of all, hello everyone. It's great to be here. I really, really appreciate being given the opportunity to talk a little bit about South Africa, about Cape Town, about the program. I'm just going to very briefly start with Reciprocity. We're a company that was founded, a few years ago. It felt like it was recent, but now I start thinking, my gosh, 18 years is quite a number. So we started 18 years ago in Cape Town. What we offer, amongst other things, are strategic services on inclusive and responsible businesses. We do qualitative research on lower income communities. We used to call them base of the pyramid, although those terms tend to sort of fall in and out of fashion. And this is not the right time to get into that debate. But essentially, we do research on things like access to energy, access to financial services, access to healthcare, to housing, and of course, we work a lot around entrepreneurship. Now, what we do is we offer to a number of academic institutions, including the University of Toronto, programs that involve an immersion or experiential learning that gets you very closely in touch with local entrepreneurs. And these are very representative entrepreneurship, not just in South Africa, but actually around the world, because the vast majority of business and entrepreneurs probably don't look very much like the kind of entrepreneurs you can see and find in Toronto, but rather like the ones you can find in a township in South Africa. Whether you travel to Buenos Aires, whether you go to Bangkok, whether you go to Mumbai, or to many places in China, and certainly a lot of places around the African continent, business looks very different and entrepreneurship looks very different from what it might look in Toronto. I actually just came back yesterday evening from Senegal, where we spent 2 weeks looking at financial inclusion there. And we spoke to many entrepreneurs who were using microfinance. And that was quite an interesting learning curve for me as well. I think the most important of all of these things is that and Anne has already mentioned this, we rely on a network of local navigators. They are people that we recruit or in our networks within the townships that we work in. And that is actually the secret to any of our sort of success. I'm not born in the township. I cannot ever claim to know anything much about the township. I'm South African, that's about as far as it goes, but I come from a different set of privileges and a completely different set of circumstances than most of my compatriots who live, as I'm sitting here, Langa is probably within walking distance, but it's separated by a number of barriers, physical barriers like highways and railway lines, and I cannot actually walk to Langa if I tried. I would have to walk down the main road in my neighborhood and then get on the highway, walk along the highway and get into Langa. That's something that is very particular to South Africa. And those of you who have possibly started reading Trevor Noah's book, and I'm not sure whether you have, will realize that this is specific to South Africa's history of apartheid and racial segregation. So we're still living in the legacy of that. And that is going to also be an inseparable part of your experience in South Africa, is to understand the history where we come from. There are some things that are similar and comparable to other countries, but this is very unique and very specific to our country. So what we will be doing in the class in May would be mainly to facilitate your in-person assignment here in South Africa. That means that before you come, we would identify and facilitate consulting work. Well, we would identify actually the entrepreneurs. We facilitate the consulting work when you're here, and we arrange a series of lectures. And this is what is unique to the Toronto program, is that you don't really just work with the entrepreneurs. You actually benefit from a number of interventions. There's a total of 5 courses or classroom sessions, lectures, if you want to call them that, during the field weeks that you hear in Toronto, in Cape Town. And we will be, introducing you to people who are experts in their own field, who know a thing or two about the topics that they're going to talk to. We have changed sometimes some of the topics over the years, but essentially, these are contextual sessions that provide you with sort of very important insights that feed into or that complement your experience in the township. And they provide, we also, of course, will be providing content and logistical support to faculty and to you as teams during the field weeks. The way the program looks, it's basically over 2 weeks, it's 5 separate consulting sessions with your selected entrepreneur, which will be facilitated at all times. You will be accompanied by your navigator. That will be facilitated by a navigator. We also have then, as I just mentioned already, 5 classroom sessions by selected experts and tutors on emerging market and related topics. We have a couple of community-based meetings that will be moderated by local navigators. So we will be taking you on a learning journey and, in fact, on an immersion into Langa or another township during the time that you're here, to actually do something different from what you would be calling a consulting session with the entrepreneur, but actually getting to meet local people, understand the broader context in which you'll be working. How do people work? How do people deal with health issues? Where do they send their kids to school? What are the things that gripe them? What are the things that they love? And so on. And then, of course, we close off the entire 2-week program with a handover session. And as Anne already mentioned, and I think Ben might talk to you about that too, that is one of the highlights, maybe the highlight of the entire program, is to be able to give your entrepreneur, who by that time you would have usually built a real bond with, to hand over to your entrepreneur a series of ideas, recommendations, insights. Again, the semantics are not really that important, to basically give your entrepreneur a sense that they can build on the work that you've done and take their business and their lives further. And I think one of the most important things is that, and we've had this very same feedback from entrepreneurs. We're going to have the privilege of having Ben here, but we should actually, I think we should have an entrepreneur here in this session as well, who can tell us about what the experience was like for them. But one of them told me last year that, what was great about this is that they felt seen and they felt heard. And I think that is a very important sort of, beyond the business stuff, beyond the, it's the fact that people really feel that someone 10,000 kilometers away actually cares about how they're doing. And that is really great. So that is, another highlight. Okay, so here's the picture of some of our navigators. They're not all there. We have a total of probably around 60 or more around the country, and nowadays in Senegal and in Zambia as well. These are just pictures of some of the navigators that over the years have been involved. This picture dates back from an excursion that we did a couple of years ago during COVID. And as you can see, some people are still wearing masks. We're all trying very hard to forget about COVID, but there we are. It's an absolutely immense privilege to be able to work with people like them, and they're absolutely amazing human beings. Again, I'm sure that Ben will agree with me that we have a pretty fantastic team on the ground. Okay, to finish off, I don't know how long I still have, if I have another minute or two. I'm not sure this is the most important thing here, but basically, the way we will be structured is, of course, you will have clients, and we've mentioned this. They are small business owners. We will, when I say you will have coaches, we, Nico and myself, will be, and if that applies, maybe somebody else will be there with you to help you with, provide you with some guidance and provide you with support where it's necessary. And sometimes it can be very hands-on, and sometimes we can back off. It depends a little bit on what the conditions and circumstances are. And sometimes, on the spectrum of whether or not we're involved or not involved is also something that is modular. We sort of always respond to the need, and we respond to the students, to the teams as well. Sometimes we regulate our level of intervention according to the need. Navigators, I've defined them to you. I think we've talked about them. And consultants are you. You are the consultants. We like to refer to you as such, not as students, but as consultants, because in this instance, that's what you are. You will be really providing people with a set of ideas, with knowledge, with insights, but also you'll be learning. So this is not about you helicoptering down from anywhere in the world and telling people what to do. You'll be learning probably more than what you'll be teaching. You're not going to be telling anyone how to run their business when they've already been doing that for the past 10 or 12 years in some cases. So they know what they're doing, and you're not going to tell them what to do, but you might be able to provide them with a fresh pair of eyes, with some interesting insights. And again, as I said, just that little boost, that little psychological boost of being seen and being heard, and knowing that somebody cares and that they actually will, try to execute or try to push through some of the ideas that you come up with. And these can be very basic. Sometimes they can also be sometimes a little bit more complex, but always they have to be implementable. They have to be practical and not academic. And Anne has already touched on that. So I think that's about it. Here's a map of Cape Town. For those of you who have taken the trouble of zooming into a satellite map, Cape Town is actually what you see on the very iconic pictures of Table Mountain is what I'm circling here. I don't know if you can see my mouse actually moving, but there we go. This is the very small bit of Cape Town that's beautiful, and usually the postcard picture of but the townships are actually occupying most of this area. So it's very, very big. It's huge. The distance from this part that is Khayelitsha all the way into Cape Town is about 40 minutes by vehicle, by car. So you can imagine just how large this entire area is. The area that we will most likely be working in is Langa, which is here. I'm circling it here where you see Forest Drive. That's where I stay here in Pinelands. This is where I'm sitting right now. And the township of Langa right across from me, from this main road. Okay, that's it for me, I think.
Thank you very much, Pia and Anne, and we are looking forward to offering this again with you. Thank you so much. There are mandatory pre-course lectures and pre-departure orientation in Toronto. So when we say in Toronto, it will probably be online or hybrid. The pre-course lectures will be on April 30th and May 1st, 2025. The pre-departure orientation dates will be posted once students are admitted. So please look out for that and be aware of that. So there's 3 weeks on site, but there's going to be mandatory pre-program lectures right before when the program begins. While in South Africa, lectures and classes happen in conference spaces at the host hotel, while consulting work happens in the township. So some lunches are included, and the schedule is very full. But there are some time for free time for yourselves, and as well. So most evenings, couples of afternoons, and there's couples full times for you. And we work very closely with a wonderful travel agency, and they offer additional excursion that a lot of our students do take advantage of this. The additional excursions are optional and they are at your own cost. So we do forward these options to you before, so you could consider taking these amazing trips. This is a look for a very tentative calendar. We are going to be posting this online shortly. This really just follows a calendar that we had from last year, so things will change. We would definitely share a calendar that will be most up to date with students, especially once they're admitted. But this will give you a sort of a general snapshot of what you will be expecting from this program. We had mentioned that the first week is really dedicated to lectures and introductions and orientations. And then you're really out in the field and working with the groups and entrepreneurs for the rest of the programs. And you're being guided through Professor Anne as well as reciprocity and all of this. What I'm very impressed with this program is how organized it is. You will be busy, but you will also be well guided in terms of the layout of the program. So again, this is just a snapshot, and we will send you a more up-to-date calendar for students who are admitted. There are just a few pictures of what students have taken in the past, and you can see the amazing views and the previous group of students participants, and they're all smiling, which is really great. Forward over to let you know about the accommodations. So this year we have negotiated and will be accommodating at Breakwater Lodge. It's a large hotel, pictures looks great with modern amenities and overlooking the ocean. You'll be sharing a room with a fellow classmate. It's a twin room. It's located at the foot of Table Mountain, as Pia mentioned, close to tourist attractions and hiking trails. The hotel has fitness facility as well as an in-house restaurant. Breakfast is included, but you are responsible for the other meals. The Wi-Fi is included as well, so in terms of location, it's great. And your formal classes will be placed here as well, so very convenient. The accommodation availability will be May 7th to May 25th, 2025, and that is all inclusive for the program day. And as Pia did mention, there are excursions that are part of this program. And you're going to have a city tour and orientation, as well as a tour to visit to Robben Island and Cape of Good Hope. You are also going to have an amazing arrival and farewell group dinners. So lots of great opportunities to know each other and to get to know each other outside of the group work as well as the lectures. And then in terms of getting there, our students are responsible for booking their own flights. However, the Summer Abroad Office will provide a recommended flight for admitted students. And we do suggest taking this recommended flight just because it's nice to travel with other fellow students. Transportation to and from airport in Cape Town will be provided and through our amazing travel agency. But this will be only on the dates expected of arrival and departure. If you do plan to arrive at Cape Town earlier or leave later, you are responsible for your own transportation to and from. We will be responsible for providing any kind of documentation that you may need for visas. So because this program starts fairly early in the summer in May, we will be following up with students who do require your visas. And we will try as much as we can through reciprocity and also through our office to provide any documentation that you may need for your visa application. And in terms of price, you will see this on our website. We are trying to be very transparent in ways of how you should budget. So this is separated in two sections. Fees paid to U of T. So you have an application fee of 210 Canadian dollars this year for 2025, and then a course fee of 58.90 for domestic students. This is a U of T course, so you have to pay incidental fees. There are future fees that all students must pay for and accommodations as well. So this fees paid through U of T is done through our invoicing system. These are fees that all students must pay on the dedicated deadlines. You can also see the additional costs that could fluctuate depending on what you choose is the airfare. So you have to budget approximately $2,550 depending on where you are flying from. Meals, as well as I mentioned, it has to be budgeted for. And you also have to budget for medical, travel insurance, and miscellaneous expenses, as well as any visa application or visas that you will have to pay if needed. So all of this can be found on our website as well. So now I want to invite Ben, who did participate in our program in 2024, to say a few words about his experiences.
Thank you so much. I'm Ben. I'm a second year at the St. George campus. I'm studying economics and I'm doing minors in psychology and history. I'm hoping to study behavioral economics in the future. The South Africa program was a great application of my economics work even really early on. And some of the history that Professor Armstrong talked about learning really pushed me to pursue my minor in history, which I had not done or had not planned to do prior to South Africa, but that the course really influenced me to do that. So there's a lot of learning about South Africa and Cape Town and the history very early on when we're still in Toronto, and as well as along the way when we're there. There were really great connections all around, I would say, with Tapfuma and Professor Armstrong from Toronto, but also I think Pierre and Nico especially gave us guidance on how to interact with our entrepreneur and interact with each other and interact with the space we were in. Tapfuma was a great resource for understanding some of the history of South Africa as well, and how the structure of some of the businesses that we were working with, and definitely the cultural navigators who were a highlight for me. My cultural navigator, Bukile, was amazing, and it took us all around Langa to try new foods and visit new places and really see Langa from an angle that you probably wouldn't if you didn't have someone like that to lead you through it. And working with my entrepreneur was also amazing. So we had the meeting sessions with my entrepreneur, Razi, who was a tailor, and really learning about his business was a new experience for me. I got to see how businesses, operate through the lens of the entrepreneur, which I thought was really interesting. So I definitely formed a bond with him. He made me a very nice shirt before we left, and definitely created a bond with the other students in my group. There were 4 of us, and one of them is one of my closest friends now. The handover, as well as Pierre talked about earlier, was one of the most satisfying parts of the trip, because we got to explain some of our logic and what we learned about his business, but also some of the optimism we had about how his business could do even better than it already was. There were great connections with classmates, friendships that went beyond just the 4 weeks of the trip. And for me, it was my first time in South Africa and on the African continent in general. And it was a great opportunity for me to explore, have a shared experience with the other students. And I think one piece of advice that I would give any student is to try everything. Like you're only there for 3.5, 4 weeks. And if there's an opportunity to do something, do it, because you don't know when you're going to be back in Cape Town with this level of like support and connection with other people. So these pictures here, you can see the top left, that's the Cape of Good Hope, Robben Island. Pictures from Robben Island, some great food we tried, some beaches, some time in the classroom, and meetings with Razi as well. So all around a great experience that I would recommend to any student. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ben. That was great. We really appreciate your time, and it's quite inspiring what you've gone out of this program. So again, thank you so much. Ben will be around for the next couple minutes if you do have any questions for him. The eligibility. So U of T students must be in good standing. You just can't be in probations. If you completed one or more courses, you must have a CGPA of at least 1.75. This is just to become eligible. It doesn't mean that you are going to be admitted. First year students with no final grade can apply, but we will absolutely look at your transcript as well as your application and personal statements. U of T students in a professional faculty or graduate program, U of T alumni, non-degree students, and if you are a student or a visitor student who is not part of U of T, or if you have any friends that are currently an undergraduate student who is part of another Canadian university, they are more than welcome to apply for this program and course as well. Summer Abroad is committed to supporting all students in your study abroad experience. And we have launched a webpage of EDIA, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, and Accessibility resources for the diverse group of students communities who are interested in applying to study abroad but are looking for resources to help inform their choice and that consider their lived experiences and identities. There are targeted resources for various student communities, for example, students with disabilities, first generation students, etc. As you start planning for your summer abroad journey, you may already realize that different countries have distinct cultures, norms, and political landscapes. Understanding the cultural nuances of your chosen destination can help you better navigate the local context and embrace the local experience. We encourage you to explore information on local customs, traditions, and etiquette, as the knowledge will enable you to engage with locals in a respectful and culturally sensitive manner. So we have a dedicated page for the site or region-specific EDIA resources for our students as well. We strongly recommend you to reach out Program Coordinator for Diversity and Inclusion, that is me, if you have any EDIA-related inquiries. You are also able to book a virtual advising session with me through our book appointment page on our website. And this is very important. As mentioned, Summer Abroad is committed to providing a welcoming and inclusive environment for everyone. We work closely with the U of T Accessibility Services Office to ensure resources are made available for students living with disabilities learning needs. Any students who may require disability-related accommodation or support from Summer Abroad courses will need to first register with the Accessibility Services Office so that an effective accommodation plan can be put in place before you travel abroad. It is critical that students contact accessibility services as soon as possible and discuss any potential travel or course plans with their accessibility advisor well in advance, finalizing their participation in the program. And the Summer Abroad Inclusion, Diversity, and Excellence Award is a new award that awards undergraduate students who have contributed to the advancement of equity, diversity, and inclusion. There are 4 awards available for $5,000 each and can play a significant part of your funding. You are able to view the biographies of the 2024 and 2023 recipients on our website. So how to apply? Applications for Summer Abroad 2025 programs are open next Friday, that is December 13th at 10 a.m. Due to the program starts early, the South Africa program has an earlier deadline on Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. The programs are selected on a set of criteria, so it's not first come, first serve. You have approximately 1 month to apply. We look look at academic suitability. So we do look at your program as well as your transcripts. But we also have a set of personal statements. And this year, we are planning to have a recorded video interview component where students are asked to speak about adaptability and other general questions. The video interview details will be provided once an application is submitted. We are estimating that the average time of completing the video assessment is 15 to 20 minutes. So please do not wait until the last minute to just complete the form because there's following work that takes a bit of time. No need to stress out for this. It is more about us to know you as our student. You will necessarily to have a decent CGPA, but if you do have a very compelling personal statement and interview, we do prioritize that very seriously. Please take a look at our application, the questions that we're going to be asking in terms of the personal statement. You could save your application and go back to it and make sure that you just apply by January 15th. It's 3 portions: academic suitability, such as your program, your CGPA, but we also take into account personal statements of why you want to take this course, why you want to take this program, and video interview of some competency assessments. Just explain to us honestly why you want to take this program. The last step is to pay the $210 application fee. If you're not selected to this program, this will be partially refunded to you. And please note that each program has a separate application. So if you're interested in South Africa and South Korea, those are 2 separate applications and 2 separate application fees. Please keep that in mind. And here is what our application form looks like. It's pretty straightforward. You just have to follow the steps and prompts just as long as you apply by January 15th. Don't forget you have a 15 to 20 minutes video interview assessment tool. Don't wait for the last minute to submit and you're all good. And decisions specifically put for this program, because it is early, will be sent by mid-February or earlier. Admissions for on-site summer programs is conditional, of course, upon the government of Canada allowing travel outside Canada. If we offer you a spot to the South Africa program, if accepted, you will have 1 week to confirm your participation by paying a non-refundable $1,000 deposit. If you decline an offer, you will not get your application feedback. Remaining fee of the rest of the fees are due to U of T are due on March 5th, 2025. Now, since I talk about the prices, I'm going to talk about funded and financial need. We do have quite substantial funding from the Woodsworth College administered awards. By completing the award application, you will be considered for a Summer Abroad Award. If you're eligible for an award, there's an award application that is embedded in our program application, and you're more than welcome to apply. And you will be considered for all the awards that are office administered. Funding is open to all domestic U of T students based on financial need. The award amounts vary based on demonstrated financial need and destination. You'll be selected for an award. The amount will be applied toward the cost of your program. It will be reflected on the invoice of your program if you're selected for that award. What are the criteria? You have to be a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or protected person, or a refugee. Current U of T students who are undergraduate students. You must complete at least 4.0 U of T credits by December 31st, 2024. Your CGPA has to be at least 2.25. Some awards require higher academic average, and you must have financial need documented. So OSAP, any kind of loans, even your parents' tax assessments for last year, any kind of documentation that provides any kind of evidence of financial need. And you will be asked to upload this into our application. And aside of that, we do offer merit-based awards. This is also part of our application. So once you do submit your program application, there are other applications for specifically merit-based awards. As we may receive more applications than funds, you will be assessed on the overall quality of your application. If granted, again, the value of the award will only cover a portion of the cost that you incur participating in the program. So the criteria for merit-based awards, similarly, you must be a U of T undergraduate student. You must complete at least 4.0 U of T credits by December 31st, 2024, and your CGPA must be at least 2.25. So again, merit-based. We are going to be asking you a personal statement of why this award would really benefit your experience. The applications are available through our application portal as well. In terms of financing, we would recommend that you start budgeting now, and we are hosting an online info session on how to finance your summer abroad experience on Thursday, January 9th, 2025. And you may scan the QR code to register. Just a reminder, the final payment is due on March 5th for the South Africa program. Check with your registrar's office to see if there's any possible awards or bursaries. Travel awards that are available through your college registrar's office. UTSC or UTM might have some awards available for you too. If you are eligible for OSAP, this is a summer course, so you could also apply for OSAP. Please note that since OSAP funds are not released until close to the start of the program, you cannot defer these fees to our office, but you are eligible to receive OSAP. The CIE Center for International Experience does have an IE Plus award. It's a maximum of 8,000 into 2 years. I highly suggest that you look into these awards as they did provide a lot of funding to our students in previous years. And then just a quick note that you are responsible for arranging your own visas if applicable, and we will give you supporting documents if you are admitted to the program for South Africa. Canadian citizens require a passport valid for 6 months beyond your return date. International students must check with your embassy or consulate for requirements. Summer abroad, as I mentioned, we do try to give you as much documentation as possible. Because of that, apply in Toronto if possible, and review the terms and conditions of travel, health, and flight insurance and cancellation insurance as well. But I must stress now, do not book any flights. Make sure you're admitted to the program first, and then we will walk you through in terms of recommended flights and next steps of getting insurance and visas as well. Next steps, as I mentioned, I'm going to cut through here at January 15th. You must submit your application and submit your awards applications by February 3rd. Then keep an eye out for this program. We are going to be sending notification in mid-February. 1 week after admission, notification, a deposit is due to confirm your spot. Then we are going to have pre-departure orientation in April. As mentioned, there's going to be a mandatory pre-program lecture before upon arrival in Cape Town. And of course, in May, that's when you are abroad. You are in Cape Town for 3 weeks. For you to follow U of T abroad, this is how you can follow our students' previous adventures from last or previous summers. But this is also a good way to know of any kind of events that are coming up through our office or any kind of announcements coming up, especially for the upcoming very busy months. In terms of connecting with us, we have Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, Red information sessions for other programs this and next month. Follow us through social media platforms, subscribe to our monthly e-newsletter, The Summary, and you could also book a virtual appointment if you want to speak one-on-one with an advisor. You could do that through our website. Our student ambassadors have created a Discord group, so please feel free to join Discord. They do have drop-in session every week. Feel free to contact us, especially during December and January. We are right on time, and I just want to see if there's any question here in the chat. I don't see any questions. Thank you so much for your time and really appreciate it. It's nice to see you come back and speak about your experience. Professor Anne for her time, and Wendy at the back for answering the questions. And yeah, we are so excited to be offering this program again. Again, please feel free to contact us. I'm more than happy to forward any specific question to our faculty as well as our partner if you have any question whatsoever, even with our alumni. So thank you for your time, and hopefully we will see you in Cape Town in a couple of months. And take care.